Welcome back, you guys, and there have been tons of great scorers throughout the history of the game, but what about players that had a huge jump in their scoring average over one season or even 2 seasons? I'm gonna also give a short background of the seasons just to refresh your guys' memory. Of course, there are other guys that had big scoring increases, so when you go through these 6 players, don't hesitate to drop a comment of that player that you thought should have been on here. First on the list we have CJ McCollum. Now CJ had his big scoring break with the Blazers when LaMarcus Aldridge left the team in the summer of 2015. That was also the summer Brook Lopez, Wesley Matthews, and Aaron Aflalo signed with different teams in free agency, so the team looked a bit different with Damian Lillard as the clear-cut main guy. But Portland needed somebody to fill the role as their second scorer, and that guy was their 10th overall pick from the 2013 NBA draft. When LaMarcus officially signed with the Spurs, Lillard's first phone call was to CJ, and he told him this: "This is our team now, we need to do what we need to do." He was now the starting shooting guard and went from averaging 7 points per game in the 2014 season to 21 per game in the 2015-2016 season, a 14-point jump in just 1 year, and that scoring increase helped him win the Most Improved Player award. It's not surprising that CJ was getting buckets. He's been doing that since high school, and that's the reason why he was drafted so high. But what's surprising to me is the jump from 6 all the way up to 20. Yes, he was getting more minutes and he was in a situation where he could get a good amount of shots, but that's really impressive. He doesn't get to the free throw line that often, and he doesn't rely on overt athleticism to score. A lot of that is on CJ's three-point accuracy and his ability to create in isolations and pick and rolls. Okay, I'm kind of cheating here by using 3 seasons, but I have to have Jimmy Butler on here because of how unlikely his scoring development has been in his career. When Jimmy was a rookie, Richard Hamilton said that Jimmy shot the ball at the rim like it was a dart. Jimmy had no arc on his shot, and it was ugly. He was just a defensive specialist, and nothing about his offensive skill set said, "We got to get this guy the ball at the three-point line or let him create offense on his own." Jimmy wasn't that guy yet. He only played in 42 games and averaged 3 points per game in his first year. But after some summers in the gym, he got all the way up to 20 points per game in 2015. He was getting to the rim a lot more, making more threes, getting more post-up opportunities, and drawing fouls to get free throws. Again, I know it was a gradual increase and not in 1 or 2 seasons like I said in the beginning of the video, but I had to have him on here. It's crazy how he went from a defensive specialist averaging 2 points per game to a 20-point per game all-star in 2015. That's really unlikely. In Jimmy's own words, he knows that his rise as a go-to option on offense has been crazy. Let's go into the next player. When Rudy Gay was drafted with the 8th pick of the 2006 NBA draft, he was expected to come in and contribute right away because of his offensive skill set. He averaged 10 points per game on a 22-win Grizzlies team. But the next season, Rudy Gay became one of the more focal points on the team. He jumped up to 20 points per game, and he led that year's Grizzlies team in scoring and steals per game. So he almost doubled his scoring average in just 1 season. Plus, once Pau Gasol was traded, he had free reign to get his shots. This was Rudy Gay in his early 20s and before the Achilles injury, so he was at his peak athletic ability. If he had space and got to the rim, he could explode over the top of defenses. He was on a bad Memphis team, but at the end of the day, a 10-point jump in just 1 season is pretty nice. Next, we have Dirk Nowitzki, an NBA MVP, a Finals MVP, a 30,000-point scorer. But it was not easy for him in the beginning of his career. He had it pretty rough. You gotta remember, Dirk struggled in his rookie season, and he even thought about going back to Germany because he was just not comfortable in the NBA. In 20 minutes per game, he was averaging 8 points on 40% shooting. Dirk was getting that reputation of he's just a soft European big man, but he slowly started to get more acclimated in the NBA, and he increased his scoring averages 4 years in a row. Dirk went from averaging 8 points per game in his rookie year to 18 points per game in his second year to 22 in his third year. So Dirk had a 14-point improvement in just 3 seasons. He was selected in the lottery because of his ability to score, so it looks like a normal improvement, but when you factor in the adversity he had to go through early on, I think it should be noted as an impressive scoring increase. In Zach Randolph's first NBA season, he didn't get too much time on the court and only averaged 2 points per game and bumped that up to 8 per game in his second year. It was Zach's third year with the Blazers that he broke out and became a double-double machine. In that year, Z-Bo started in 80 games and bumped his scoring average up to 20 points per game, so Z-Bo made the most out of his opportunity and doubled his scoring average from his second season. He also won the NBA's Most Improved Player award that year, a really impressive scoring jump. Last on the list, I have Jeremy Lin, definitely one of the more unlikely rises as an NBA player in this decade. And before he would have his huge scoring jump on the New York Knicks, he played a season on the Golden State Warriors. That was the Warriors team before they had Mark Jackson as head coach. Lin was at the end of the depth chart. He was behind Steph Curry, Monte Ellis, and AC Law, so it was pretty hard for him to get onto the court. He only averaged 2.6 points per game that year. But with the Knicks, he was able to get onto the court after they were struggling in the middle of the season, and I'm sure you guys remember the Linsanity story. In the month of January, he was averaging 21 points per game, and overall that season, he was averaging 14 a game. So Lin went from an end-of-the-bench guy on the Warriors to a 14-point-per-game scorer the next season. Of course, he had a lot of opportunity on the Knicks, but it's still impressive for someone that went undrafted. And that is it for some NBA players that had huge scoring increases in their careers. There have been a few other NBA players that also had scoring jumps. I just wanted to talk about those guys. I got this idea from a post on NBA Reddit, so I will link that in the description so you can read that. I appreciate it if you made it to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys in my next one.